In this short clip, I'm going to give an introduction to the way that projects are structured in engineering system design and engineering system analysis courses. We use jigsaw tasks to allocate roles within the group, and I'm going to link that into how the assessment is measured against the generalized criteria and how that all fits into WATTLE. We have three main aspects of assessment in these courses, the largest being the jigsaw tasks, which happen during the middle of the courses, the portfolio, which happens throughout the course but is largely submitted at the end, and that's an individual activity, and the group project, which happens throughout the entire course, but there are major milestones at the beginning and the end. The jigsaw tasks can be broken up into three categories. The largest of that is the research paper. There's a facilitation and a peer review. And we're going to spend a bit of time going into how the jigsaw tasks work and fit into both the group project and then hopefully into your portfolio. So in each tutorial, there should roughly be 4 groups of 6 people. We can give each of these groups names to try and make things a bit easier. And for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to give each group a different color. At the beginning of the semester, each group decides which jigsaw tasks they'll do each week. This means that everybody's assessment is slightly different. Everybody will have different tasks due at different times. And students are given the freedom to pick, and students are given the ability to pick and choose how they think they might best learn different topics in the course and how that maps to different activities that they need to complete in the course. Let's just take 1 week, for example. Each person in the group has picked a different jigsaw task, indicated by the different shapes. In any given week, the group will have different jigsaw tasks. Some of the jigsaw tasks require doing work the week before the topic and the week after the topic. So a student could potentially be wearing 2 or 3 jigsaw hats at the one time. Let's walk through a week in the jigsaw tasks. So there are a number of activities that students complete each week, and it's worthwhile remembering that these jigsaw tasks are really there to try and inform the group project, and on top of that, their individual portfolio. To make tracking a little easier, I've put a task acronym for the activity that the students have this particular week. The students who are doing the individual research paper will work independently. The peer reviewers will rely on the people who are doing the individual research paper. The tutorial facilitators work together in a group, but then inform the whole tutorial. And the people working on their group project will probably work with everybody who is in their group on this particular topic. So let's walk through a typical jigsaw process. The week before the topic, the tutorial facilitators come and attend a workshop. Before they do that, they need to submit a forum post on WATTLE on how they plan to teach this particular topic. So it's expected that before they've done that, they've probably done some reading on the topic and they've thought about how they might be able to approach the teaching of that topic in an interesting and engaging way. The individual research paper authors need to submit a structured abstract. So they would have definitely done some reading on the topic, and the structured abstract is a 1 to 2 page summary of what they plan to write in their individual research paper. This is submitted early in the week, and feedback is given to them by the end of the week so that they can make sure that they're on the right track for their draft paper when they submit that in the week of the topic. In the week before the topic, everybody is invited to a workshop on the topic. The tutorial facilitators must attend this session, and it's strongly recommended that the research paper authors come to this session as well. I encourage every student to come to these sessions. I encourage everybody to turn up to these sessions, but many groups form strategies where just the research paper author and the tutorial facilitator go to these sessions and then tell the rest of the group what happened. It provides an opportunity for face-to-face learning if they're not able to come to the seminar of that week. In the second hour of the workshop, everybody's kicked out except for the tutorial facilitators, and we go through developing a teaching plan with them. Typically, the 4 people in the group have come to the session with different ideas, and this is where they try and nut out a plan for how they're going to teach this particular topic. The main value in this session is just getting to meet the people who you'll be facilitating next week's tutorial with. Students are encouraged to come up with a SMART Plus goal, which is a description in 1 sentence of a shared goal, which is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound, and positively framed. They also think about how they're going to structure the tutorial, and typically that includes an icebreaker activity, some form of knowledge transmission, some sort of hands-on activity to cement that knowledge, and then a conclusion. Now that we have two experts on a particular topic, the tutorial facilitator and the research paper author, they go back to their groups and work on the weekly group homework that they have for their group project. At the beginning of each session, the groups are expected to present a 1 to 2 page summary of how their group project fits into the topic, which then forms the basis of their report for the group project at the end of semester. Over the entire semester, a student is likely to be in the expert role twice, once as a tutorial facilitator and once as a research paper author. And different groups will have different strategies on how they achieve this group homework each week. The tutorial facilitation group will spend the week developing their secret plan, and that usually involves a meeting or two outside of class. And they'll develop their secret plan over that week so they can hand it to their tutor when they turn up for their tutorial. The research paper authors also go away. They work individually on their own research paper, which is about 5 pages, on the topic and how that topic relates to their group project. So they really go into depth for their group project and are hopefully able to bring that expert knowledge back to their group. At the beginning of the week, they submit their draft paper, and the peer reviewers then take on the role of providing feedback to the research paper authors. Now, of course, the peer reviewers at this stage might not have had any contact with the topic at all, and so they use the tutorial and the facilitation as a way to cement their knowledge around the topic so they can provide useful feedback to the research paper authors. The tutorial facilitators as a group co-facilitate the first hour of a tutorial where they provide an engaging learning environment. One of the biggest difficulties for facilitators is making sure that they transmit the content, because usually they've figured out something that's quite engaging and interesting for the class. In the second hour, the tutor will make their way around all of the groups and have a group meeting with each of them to make sure that their group project is on track. Attendance is not recorded, but we find that attendance is very high in these sessions because this is where the bulk of perhaps the surface learning happens in the course. By the end of the week, the peer reviewers have provided feedback to the research paper authors on that particular paper. Peer review process should only take the peer reviewers about half an hour, and their main criteria is to improve the paper of the author. So they're asked to provide comments under each of the criteria for the research paper in a way that's constructive for the author. The week after the topic, the research paper author submits a final paper at the end of that week, which should hopefully then feed back in a really high-level way back to their ongoing group work. It's probably worthwhile looking at how the face-to-face interactions happen within the course. So the workshops, the tutorials, and the seminars all overlap on a given topic. The workshops are really there for people to prepare early. So you're typically there for the research paper authors and the facilitators. Sometimes you see some of the peer reviewers there, but the peer reviewers really picked up in the tutorials where a lot of the group project work happens and a lot of the knowledge that would then go into the portfolio occurs. The seminars are a large class session where we go through an exemplary tutorial environment where hands-on activity is encouraged. This is really to try and extend students and maybe provide them with some slightly different applications of the theory to a given problem. The solo taxonomy is largely the governing criteria for a lot of the assessment. And the role of certain tasks within the course are designed to try and bring out different levels in the solo taxonomy. These are supported by different class activities. So for example, the online classroom, which is a 5-minute introduction to the topic, is supported with a self-test, which is only really there to provide a unistructural perspective of the topic. If you only relied on that part of the course, chances are that you're not going to understand the content in the way that you need to then apply it to your group project and portfolio. The workshops and the research paper are an extension on an introduction, but you're asked to explore the topic a little bit deeper. The group project is a great way to try and bring all of that individual unistructural and multistructural knowledge together, try and apply and relate that knowledge to a real-world project. This is supported by the student-run tutorials and the tutor who will meet with them as a mentor on a weekly basis. For students who are really extending, they'll get a lot out of coming to the seminar and looking at extended ways that the theory fits into the world around us. Typically, the seminar is a hands-on activity with very little instruction that tries to apply the theory from that week. Students who come to these really have really good ideas on what they're going to do in their portfolio and how they can creatively apply that theory. So a quick run through on the technology. The online classroom is a series of short videos which explain a very particular aspect of the theory. So by watching these online classroom activities, students can get a really basic idea of the topic. Students might not want to watch the video, so the PDF and transcript are available of these as well. One fantastic consequence of putting the content up on YouTube is that comments start to come in from around the world, and comments from people outside of the course have started to trickle in. Once you've watched the video, you should go and have a look at the self-test, which is basically a 6 multi-choice WATTLE quiz to make sure that you're on the right track. Students who are facilitating a topic use WATTLE to put forward a workshop idea. This is how they plan to run through the tutorial. This is the idea that they bring to their group before coming to the tutorial. But just looking at the ideas that are generated in this forum, it's clear to see that people are approaching these topics in a creative and engaging way. The research paper is strongly supported by WATTLE, and for this we use the workshop module. The structured abstract is submitted a week before the peer review process, and they're given feedback by the course convener using the rubric tool. The draft submission and peer review happens in a number of phases during the week of that particular topic, and the final submission is just made by an assignment the week after. So this gives a brief overview to the way that Jigsaw tasks work within the course and how they support the portfolio and the group project and really engage students in the learning process throughout the semester. There's more information about the courses if you're interested on the public access course pages, and the URLs are given here. Hope that was a useful introduction to the Jigsaw Classroom that we use in engineering system design and engineering system analysis. And please post any questions that you might have below.